Preparing. All right, it should be preparing.
It's live.
Okay. All right, it should be preparing.
It's live.
All right, good evening, everyone. Just gonna switch my screen over here. All right, welcome to the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering information session for 2020. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name is Jackie Gralick. I am the admissions specialist for Morris County Vocational School District. We very much wish that we could have seen you in person tonight, but we're very happy that we were able to meet you virtually tonight so that you can see all that this incredible academy has to offer. So thank you so much for taking your time out of your day to join us. We hope that you are comfy in sweatpants on the couch watching us as we go through, again, all that this great academy has to offer. We are going to show you how you can engage during the presentation so that you are a part of it, and make sure if you have any questions, we can get those answered. I first just want to start with some introductions. We have with us here this evening the wonderful Ms. Cheryl Giordano. Ms. Giordano is the District Director of Instruction for Morris Hills Regional School District, and she is the Academy Director for Math, Science, and Engineering. We also have Ms. Sherry Costelli. Ms. Sherry Costelli is the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction for Morris County Vocational School District. Ms. Gina DiDomenico. Students, you may have already met her through any virtual forums for your middle school. She is our Student Recruitment and Community Liaison for Morris County Vocational School District. We have Mr. Michael Gowdy. He is our Grants and Satellite Programs Manager here at Morris County Vocational School District. And again, myself, my name is Jackie Gralick, the Admissions Specialist for Morris County Vocational School District. So once again, thank you so much for being with us this evening. So what we're going to do tonight is we are going to go through our presentation and explain the ins and outs of math, science, and engineering and the application process. but we want to make sure if you have questions that you can send those to us so that we can answer them live this evening. We will do our absolute best to get through as many questions as possible, so please feel free to send them. Ms. DiDomenico has just magically sent you all an email. So your registered email account that you registered through Eventbrite for tonight, you just received an email from her with a link to this QR code or the tiny URL. So you can do one of three things. You can pull up that email and click on the link. You can B, hold up your smartphone right to the screen there with your camera on, and a little link will come up and that will bring you right to it. Or you can type in that URL into your web address. So those three options will get you to a very simple form. I'll just show you what that looks like. Right here, it's just going to have, you're just going to put in your email address. You can type your question, hit submit. It will come up automatically to submit another question. So you can do that continuously throughout the evening. So please do not hesitate to give us a question there, okay? So I'm going to leave that up for just a couple seconds. And again, you can check your email from Ms. DiDomenico, use your smartphone, or put the URL into the web address. But we're looking forward to engaging with you this evening. All right, so up next, I am super pleased to introduce you to Miss Cheryl Giordano, and she's going to go through the Academy for you.
Great, thanks everyone for joining us. This is definitely a different format for us, so I'll do the best I can. Normally we walk around with a microphone and get to engage with the crowd and the students, which is always one of the best parts of the event, but we are obviously not doing that tonight. So Ms. Gralick, if you could just go to the next page. All right, so to start, I just want to give you a little history of our program. The Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering started back in 2000, and it was a joint venture between the Morris County Vocational School District and the Morris Hills Regional School District. It was their first satellite program in the VOTEC. It is not housed on their Denville campus. It's actually on the campus of Morris Hills High School. Now, what makes it different from other programs is that it's a county-wide career and technical education program, which we refer to as a CTE program. The Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering is extremely competitive. We are highly selective. Our students are extremely bright. Last year, if you want some statistics, 23.8% of the students who applied to the program were accepted. So about 1 in 4 do get an acceptance. And back in 2016, Newsweek did recognize our program as the second best high school in the nation. Next slide. All right, so other information just about how the school day runs, because each high school in the state of New Jersey has their own schedule. So the students in the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering follow the Morris Hills schedule. So our school hours are 7 to 18 in the morning till 3:02 in the afternoon. And we run an A-day, B-day block schedule. What that looks like is the blocks from 1 to 8 are actually 88-minute blocks. And then we have a special class for the Academy students, which we call Z Block, that runs in the morning, and it's only half the time. So it's 44 minutes, but what it does is it meets every day. So what it'll look like on an A day is the students will go to Z Block for 44 minutes, and then they'll attend their classes, blocks 1 through 4. And then on a B day, they go back to that same Z Block for 44 minutes, and then they attend the blocks 5 through 8, and those will be different classes. Transportation in the Academy is provided by your home district. So if you live in Parsippany, Parsippany would be responsible for providing transportation to and from school. Same thing if you lived in Kinnelon or Mount Olive or one of the other towns in the Morris County area. With our students, we do have a high number of credits that are required in order to graduate. So we require our students to complete 170 credits to graduate from our program, which is significantly higher than the state of New Jersey requirement. Once you do get this presentation, you can actually click on a link there and check out the required credits for graduation for the program. And it's also one of the brochures that you should have received from the email. In our school, we don't have letter grades, so you don't get an A, a B, a C, D, or an F. Instead, students get numerical averages for all of their classes. But what's a little bit different is we do require our students to have at least a 70 or higher in order to pass. So anything below a 70 is considered not passing the course. And another important part, I think, of our program is that we do not rank our students like a traditional high school. So we don't have a valedictorian or a salutatorian. We do that purposely because our students are so academically gifted that their GPAs are really high. If we took the top 10, they may be valedictorians or salutatorians in their home district. So when it comes to college applications, we do not rank because it would actually probably hurt them in the application process. Next slide. Some more information about the Academy, the extracurricular activities such as clubs, honor society, sports. Students in the program will actually participate with Morris Hills High School students. So we have soccer teams, basketball teams, baseball, softball, wrestling, you name it. You may have even seen some of our students participating in the slideshow in the beginning. Those are actually students who are Academy students, and they've played multiple sports in multiple seasons. So again, there's a brochure that you should have received that'll have a link with the extracurricular activities that we offer at our high school, including the sports. Now, one thing I do have to emphasize, and this is really important, if your child is serious about attending the Academy and they do get an acceptance, we require all incoming freshmen to attend a 2-week summer program. And this upcoming year, that will run July 19th through July 30th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. We will have the students take more or less it's 2 classes a week. So it could be CAD and AP Physics 1, maybe 1 week, and then the next week, Math Analysis 1, and a team-taught humanities class with an English teacher and a social studies teacher. Now, I cannot stress mandatory enough. It is mandatory. When we say mandatory, we mean mandatory. So if you have a summer vacation planned, or you're planning on a summer vacation, put those dates in your calendar and do not book anything, because if you tell us, I'm going on vacation during one of those weeks, what can we do? We'll basically say, you have 2 choices. You can change your vacation, or you can give up your seat in the program. So when we say mandatory, we absolutely mean mandatory. With that summer program, transportation is not provided, so you will have to coordinate some type of transportation to and from the program for each day. Another brochure that we've shared with you is some information about our Academy freshman teachers. So if you wanted to meet some of those teachers, put a face to the name, there's a little blurb about what makes them different and unique and what courses they teach. So that's a nice thing to look at as well. Since our program is a CTE program, or a career and technical education program, they are required to complete an internship, which we call a structured learning experience. So that occurs senior year. And normally when we're not in a pandemic, there would be a 100-hour internship requirement for seniors. And that would be with a mentor who works in engineering, some type of engineering field. You'll see later on that we have some examples of some of the placements where our students were last year. In addition, we do have some opportunities for college credit. So for example, Calculus 3, we have transcripted credit from NJIT. So students who are in that class can earn 4 credits for Calc 3 while they're in high school. Another part, how many students do we take each year? Each year we accept 48 students into the freshman class. Next slide. So some of our Academy required coursework, which would be in that graduation requirement, but these are the ones specific to the Academy program. You'll see in grade 9, we have 6 required courses. So Academy CAD is the first one. Then we have AP Physics 1, which is really a unique course. If you think about it, most students in high school would start with a biology class, but our students are really gifted in the math area, so they start with AP Physics 1. We also have a Math Analysis 1 class, Academy English Honors, Academy Social Studies, and Geometry Honors. That means the students have 3 other courses in which they can pick freshman year. Normally, they'll take a world language class. They're required to take physical education and health as well. And that leaves another class, which would be an elective. So depending on what that student's area of interest is, whether it's music, a lot of our students are in the band. Others may take computer programming classes like AP Computer Science Principles, but it's really up to them. That's their area of interest, maybe outside of the STEM field. In grade 10, we also have 6 required classes. Building upon the Academy CAD class, students take Academy Fundamentals of Engineering, AP Chemistry, the Academy Math Analysis 2, and then we start a 3-year course that we developed specifically for this Academy program called Academy Engineering and Product Development class. Then we have the Academy English and Social Studies. So again, there are 3 electives or 3 courses that the students take in addition to the required Academy classes in grade 10. 1 will probably be world language, 1 will be required to be physical education and health, and then another elective. Then 11th grade, we open it up a lot more for student choice. They do complete AP Biology, the 2nd year of the Academy Engineering and Product Development course, and an Academy Business Strategies course. Now, since there's only 3, we still have those 6 slots. Phys Ed is going to be 1, but most of our students take advantage of AP classes at this time. So they may take an AP English and AP Social Studies, definitely some type of math class. So AP Calculus A-B is an option. AP Calculus B-C is also an option. And then other AP science classes, or AP macro and microeconomics, or AP economics might be a choice, but it gives the students a little bit more flexibility in their schedule when they're a junior. And then in 12th grade, one of our unique courses is Academy Biotechnology, the third year of the Academy Engineering and Product Development course, which students will be working on almost like a capstone project after they have the skills in the welding room and the CAD, so they can design and develop a product. Then we have 2 half-year courses. One is Academy Technical Writing course, and then Academy Macroeconomics. The structured learning experience is listed there. It is on the students' transcripts, but it does not occur during the day. Normally, students attend their internship or their structured learning experience after school or during breaks, and possibly even on the weekends, depending on what their mentor can do. Next slide. All right, so a little bit of information about our graduating class from this past year. So this is in the profile, which is also a brochure that was handed out via email. So SAT scores, that's a big one. If you take a look at the yellow slides there, that is the bar for our Academy students from the class of 2020. So they had a 733 average in the English and a 779 in the math, and you can see it's significantly higher than the state of New Jersey and the national average. So overall, the average of the graduating class last year was 1512. So more than 500 points above the national average for the SATs. In addition, our students do take a lot of AP courses. Last year, we only had 25 students graduate because they were our last class of 26. We used to only take 26 students. Now we're up to 48. So we did have one student who did not complete the program. They left earlier after freshman year. So of those 25 students who graduated last year, they took almost 300 AP tests. In terms of their averages of 4 or 5, 82% of that got that score, and then 96% had a 3 or higher. Some other additional information about our graduates. The highest GPA was over 104. The average GPA was over 100, and we had 8 national merit semifinalists. Next slide. All right, some of our internships. So this is just a list of some of the places, and again, it's in the profile, and you'll get a link to this presentation later. But we have students placed in different areas, and the idea is they want to focus on an internship that might lead to maybe a major in college or an area of the career that they may want to pursue in the future. And we've been very fortunate to have some very strong relationships with some of the local industries. Picatinny Arsenal, for example, is really great, and they always like to have our students in there. So, you know, if you're a parent and you happen to be in a field that may want to offer an opportunity for a student, we're always welcome and looking for more opportunities for our students. Next slide. All right, where are they now? Again, this is also in the profile. The difference between the profile and what you see on the slide, this is where the students chose to go. So it's not going to be 25, there's less than 25. So we have some students, multiple students going to one of these schools. What was also listed in the profile though were some other colleges where they were accepted but chose not to go. So in the profile, it'll be highlighted or bold in terms of where they went. So we have Caltech, we have a Princeton, we have Carnegie Mellon, definitely some other tech schools, Stevens Institute of Technology, NJIT, Rutgers, and so on. Next slide. And now I'm going to turn it over to admissions. Back to Ms. Grolick.
Right, thank you, Cheryl. Yeah, so we are going to dive into admissions now that you've learned more about the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering. We want to make sure you understand what you need to do to apply and what the criteria is. So just to start, we do have an infographic here, 4 easy steps. Number 1 is you do need to choose an academy. We do have multiple academies and you are only able to choose one academy. So we do want to make sure that you have that information to do that wisely. So it's super important that you do attend an information session, reference our admissions handbook, which we'll talk about, check out our website, and email us if you have any questions. We want to make sure you feel fully informed, but we do want you to choose the academy that's right for you. To start the application, it's a simple web-based application on our website. It's going to ask you basic information about who you are, where you live, what district you live in, and what is going to happen is when you hit submit on that, you're going to get a confirmation page. Make sure you print this. This is going to be a release form that your parent or guardian has to sign and get to your middle school. When you hit submit, there was an automatic email that also went to your middle school. There was some little magic behind the scenes that says that John Smith has applied to the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering. So your middle school has already been informed that you have applied, but until you give them your release form, they cannot submit the criteria needed, which we will go over. When you start the application, you will be presented with a link to our admissions handbook. This will be your guide throughout the process for admissions. It's not a long read, it's about 5 pages. There's some space in between the paragraphs. So I do very much suggest that both the applicants and the parents and guardians read the admissions handbook from cover to cover. Again, that's going to be presented at the start of the application. It will be in the confirmation email that you get after you submit. It is also available on our website. So please make sure that you do read that. New to this year is you are going to be submitting a video over in step 3, which we're excited about. It's your time to shine. You are going to be able to submit a video and you are going to be given 2 minutes to answer 2 questions. Why is Morris County Vocational School District the right school for you? And why are you the right student for Morris County Vocational School District? All of the criteria, including your video submission, will be due by December 11th. And we're going to go over this a little bit more in detail on the next slide, but that you do have that date in mind. Throughout the process, you do have access to what's called an applicant status page, and you can see the results of what's being submitted by your school counselor and results from different parts of the admissions process throughout. All of our correspondence is via email. We do have many applicants with all of our different academies, so please do submit any questions via email to the applicants@amsevts.org email address. You are not sending an email off into cyberspace. I assure you we are going to get back to you very promptly. We do have a very rapid response time for our applicants because we know that this is an important process. We want to make sure that you have the tools to get through that. So if you have a question, shoot us an email, but just make sure that you include your name and your PIN number, which you're going to get when you submit your application. Some criteria. So this is specific to the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering. Math, Science, and Engineering is the only academy that does have a math requirement. Students must currently in 8th grade be in Algebra 1 and they must complete by the end of 8th grade. That is very important. And you saw the rigor and the course load that Ms. Giordano went over in the curriculum. So that is the requirement. You must currently be in Algebra 1 in 8th grade. What we're also going to be looking at is grade averages for English, Math, Science, and Social Studies. We're going to be looking at the final grade average for those classes from 6th grade and also the first and second marking period of 7th grade. So each one of those will receive an average and the 3 will be averaged together. We will do the same also for attendance and conduct from 6th grade and the first and second marking periods of 7th grade. I do understand that some districts' attendance, we are looking at unexcused absences. Some middle schools do not differentiate between excused and unexcused. Please reference our admissions handbook for the complete policy, but you can submit doctor's notes to us with any excused medical excusals for those dates for review. You will also in your application be giving us 2 middle school teachers' email addresses for recommendations. So in the application, you're going to again put 2 middle school teachers' emails. Make sure that the email addresses are correct. Do check the website, make sure that that is going to a valid email address. The recommendations are not going to be a personal letter statement. Your teachers will receive a notification from us letting them know that John Smith from Rockaway has applied to the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering, and they will fill out a form of questions that we are asking. So it is not a personal letter. We do not accept that. We are going to put 2 middle school emails, so make sure they are correct. Again, you're going to submit that video, which again is pretty exciting this year. We want to see from you why you want to be a student here. In the handbook, you do have all of the submission instructions from top to bottom. So just make sure that you read over that and feel comfortable with that instructions, but there will be a virtual form to submit that, and that is also due by December 11th. So you do have some time to work on that and make sure that you feel comfortable. You may only submit once, so we do suggest that you practice. Also specific to the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering, we do have a math placement test. It will be in math only. This will take place in, I'm going to move this over, early to mid-January. So again, going back, applicants to the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering must currently be in Algebra 1, and that is why we also have the math requirement and the math test. The dates and times of the test will be determined in December. You would receive that information, but they will take place on the Morris County School of Technology Denville campus. It will be in person, and there will be social distancing and small groups for the test. Some more details, the test is only 1 hour. 1 hour, it will be pen and paper. If anyone does have test accommodations per an active IEP or 504, they will be entered by your case manager and verified by our school district, but we would be able to provide test accommodations from your IEP or 504. Calculators will not be allowed unless that is a stated test accommodation in your IEP or 504. We will be looking at the test questions are created based upon the New Jersey Mathematics Learning Standards. In the admissions handbook is a wonderful link to a page that goes over the standards that we're looking at, and you can, get some practice work done with that. So again, I suggest go to that handbook, click on the Math, Science, and Engineering admissions test link, and you'll be able to learn more details about that test. So now that all that criteria has come in, we have your attendance and conduct, we have your grades, your teacher recommendations, your video submission, and your test. All of that information will be tabulated for the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering, and a qualifying score will be determined for that academy. Those that are above the qualifying score will move to the next phase of the admissions process. Those that have not met the qualifying score, unfortunately, will receive notification of such. From there, the qualified applicants from underrepresented and non-traditional populations, which are identified in something that's called Perkins 5 Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment. We do have a link to what that is in our admissions handbook, but that is something that we work with in career and technical education, which is what our school is, a CTE or career and technical education program for funding. So we will look at underrepresented and non-traditional populations to be selected to fill seats in that academy. In addition, the remaining qualified applicants will be selected using an independently supervised random selection process. The application is currently open. It opened on October 15th, but it is due December 9th. I do suggest to get the application done sooner rather than later. This way you can see all that criteria come in. You will receive email notifications when your middle school has submitted, when your teacher recommendations are submitted. You will receive an email when you submit your video. And this will also appear on what we have, what's called your applicant status page, which you will also get a link to each time you see that. So though you do have some time, make sure you get that application in, start that process, make sure that your teachers have time to fill out your recommendation form. All of the criteria is due though by December 11th. So we do want to make sure that that is in, and it is, we will help you. We will definitely send reminders to middle schools, but it is the applicant's responsibility to ensure that the criteria has been submitted. So do actively check your applicant status page. Again, a friendly reminder that all communication is via email, and that's applicants@amsevts.org, and we will get back to you, I promise. Acceptances and waitlist notices, we are projected to have the final results out by late January to early February. That is approximate. With the climate of this year, we're going to do our absolute best to stick to that timeline. We do want to make sure you have that information as well as our sending school districts. But given the current climate, there might be some changes to that timeline. And should that happen, we would absolutely communicate that to you. And again, just any questions, first reference that handbook. I promise you it'll cover so much and answer your questions nice and clearly. But then just send us an email if you have a further question. We're happy to help. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to Ms. Giordano for some frequently asked questions.
Great. So if you can just go to the next slide, Ms. Gralick, thanks. So before we open up the floor for individual questions, we typically get some of these questions. So we're going to address them first. So for starters, who is eligible to apply to the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering? For starters, you do need to be domiciled in Morris County during the application. So you need to live in Morris County. You must be an 8th grader. And as Ms. Gralick said, you must have completed or currently be in Algebra 1 before you end up finishing 8th grade. So, if you're not in Algebra 1, you would not be eligible to apply to the program. Next question. Transportation. So I had mentioned that transportation is not provided during the summer program, but keep in mind, the transportation during the school year, and I do believe I mentioned it, is provided by your home district. So if you have an issue with transportation and you don't live in Rockaway Township, Rockaway Borough, Wharton, or Denville, it's not going to be something that we can necessarily help you with. We will try, but we can't fix it for you. It's really the responsibility of your home district, and it's a requirement that they provide that transportation by law. How will they know that you need transportation if you do get accepted? MCVSD will send information to the home districts of students who are accepted into the program. So that it'll arrange the transportation. So typically what your home district is providing now is a transportation bus pass. They usually come in at the end of the summer. It's not a bad idea though to definitely reach out if you are accepted sometime in the beginning of August to sort of check in and say, hey, did you get the information that I'm going to attend Morris Hills through the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering, just to make sure that you're on their radar. But don't expect to get that bus pass very early. It's usually towards the end of August. What about late buses? Some high schools do provide late buses to their students. Unfortunately, because we have students from all over Morris County, there is not going to be an opportunity for us to offer a late bus. If you happen to reside in one of the 4 sending districts that do attend Morris Hills High School, you may be able to catch one of our late buses, but if you're outside of Rockaway Township, Rockaway Borough, Wharton, or Denville, it's not going to be possible. All right, extracurricular. Sometimes we have some students that are really interested in participating in an extracurricular activity in their home district. Maybe it's an activity that we don't offer, or maybe your home district has a phenomenal marching band and you want to participate in that marching band. Unfortunately, in most cases, you cannot. We offer many clubs and activities for our students, so there's a plethora of opportunity for you to explore. If we don't have it, you can always pitch an idea to start a new club with our high school, and students have done that over the years. There are some rare occasions though where students have been able to participate in an activity in their home district, but keep in mind your home district's Board of Education would have to approve that because they're really not students in that school anymore. They're students in the Morris County School of Technology. Can I apply to more than one academy? No. So pick one. They're all unique, they're all different, so find out where your passion is and then just go for it. What about geometry? This is a biggie. So some students that are currently in 8th grade may be in geometry right now. So if you're taking geometry as an 8th grader, or maybe you even took it as a 7th grader, do you have to repeat that course because that was a required course for freshmen? The answer is no. If you've successfully completed that class in middle school before you enter high school, you can sit for a placement exam with us. It's usually in June. And as long as you score an 80% or higher on that placement test, we would allow you to bypass that course. And with that exam, you would also have a review packet, so it wouldn't be a surprise. We would try to prepare you as much as possible so that you can open up an additional elective freshman year. Same thing with world language. Some middle schools offer a full year of world language, sometimes even more than a full year of world language. Maybe some students, I believe, in Chester might have 2 years of world language before they enter high school. If you happen to have that situation, you can move into a 2nd year of world language as a freshman, but again, it would require a placement test. The placement test for the world language exams is actually a little higher than the math. They do require 85% on those placement tests. And as far as the world languages offered in our district, it's Spanish, French, and German. What about that admission exam that Ms. Gralick was talking about in January, that math test? Can you take it more than once? Say you have a bad day. The answer is no. You get one shot, do the best you can, get sleep, eat a good breakfast, and don't stress over it. It is what it is. And what about the type of student that we're looking for? Parents, students, they ask us this question a lot. I think the most important thing is that we want a student who's really passionate about STEM. You should be coming to this school because of the curriculum, because it offers you something that your current school district maybe doesn't offer, and you want to explore that with some unique coursework. It's really not a program that you want to apply to for college admissions or to get a scholarship. I mean, we're fortunate that many of our students do attend really strong schools and do get money as part of a scholarship, but that's not the primary reason why you should be applying. All right, what about a tour? I received this quite a bit. Can we come in and tour the school? Can we visit the program while students are in session? Unfortunately, we typically have over 200 applicants and we cannot accommodate tours or visitors during the school day. If we were in person right now for this presentation, we would actually have a little tour and you'd get to see some of the facilities. So hopefully if you go back and you take a look at those videos that we showed in the beginning with the pictures, you'll see some of our facilities, but we just cannot accommodate that request. All right, Ms. Gralick has mentioned this, but just to reiterate, how do you hear from MCST? it's all going to be through email. So make sure whatever email you use for your application, that's one that you're checking regularly, because you will miss something. And also that applicant status page is hugely important. Click on it, see if you're missing any documents, follow up with your teachers if you still don't have recommendations, but everything is electronic. The other question that we often get is what, and I just had it today on a phone call, what's the difference between the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering and this other program called the Math Science Magnet? We have a lot of confusion about that, and there are several differences. For starters, and I'm probably not going to go in any order, but if Ms. Gralick, if you just want to hit each one. The focus of each program is definitely in a different realm. So STEM is AMSE. So the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering is all about engineering. The Magnet is more research focused with statistics, and they do complete the AP capstone, which is a junior and a senior year AP sequence. Also, keep in mind that the Math, Science, and Engineering program, has an extended school day. We have 9 classes per year that's required for that program. So the students actually come in earlier, whereas students in the Magnet would come to a Z block. They wouldn't come to a Z block, they'd come to a block 1 or 5. So they have a shorter day with 8 classes. Also, AMSE is an approved CTE program. We've thrown that word around and that phrase around quite a bit, Career and Technical Education Program, which requires that internship. So the Magnet does not have an internship, but the CTE programs all are required to do that. And another big difference is our science sequence. So for Math, Science, and Engineering, freshmen take physics first as freshmen, whereas the Magnet students would take biology honors. And that's also a significant difference too, because the Magnet students are taking honors level before they take AP, where our students are going right into AP Physics 1, AP Chemistry, and then AP Bio. And last but not least, AMSE is only for Morris County students, whereas the Magnet is a school choice program, so you don't have to live in Morris County to apply to that. The other difference with that is that our Morris County students attending the Academy will have 48 seats available to them, whereas the Magnet, the seats vary from year to year depending on when students graduate. So they're limited to a certain number of seats for school choice by the state of New Jersey. So sometimes it's a little harder to get in the Magnet in that case, because we may have more seats available to actually offer students. All right, so now we're going to move on to questions, I believe.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Giordano. We can see we have that screen up again. We just want to make sure that everyone does have access to submit questions. We do have quite a number of them already, which is great. So we are going to do our best to get through as many as possible. But again, please make sure you're referencing the brochures that were sent in the email from Ms. DiDomenico, our websites, and we will also follow up tomorrow. Excuse me, not tomorrow. We are closed on Thursday and Friday for the NJEA convention. We will follow up early next week with an email to everyone who registered for this evening with a link to the presentation and also the brochures and handouts. Okay, so we just want to make sure. But we're going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to read some questions here, and either myself, Ms. Giordano, Ms. Castelli, Mr. Gowdy, Ms. DiDomenico can help answer them. I'm going to start, Ms. Giordano, this one's for you. What electives are offered via Morris Hills for the Academy students?
So the best place to find the electives that are offered is to go to the Morris Hills Regional District website and look up our program of studies. So it varies. We have obviously art classes, music classes, we have tech classes, business classes, you name it. But the program of studies lists the different coursework that we have available, and it does depend on the student's prerequisites. So as a freshman, you would have to check to make sure that there weren't prerequisites for that course. And also some courses, you have to be in a certain grade level. So certain courses may only be available to, say, juniors and seniors. But the students in the Academy will get a special course selection sheet when they're accepted, and we list the types of courses that are available to them, so you can just pick from there. So many students will take an art class to get out the art class out of the way. Or like I said, a lot of our students are musically talented, so they do take band, or maybe they're in chorus. But the program of studies on the Morris Hills Regional District website is the best place to go.
Thank you. Next question. When is the last date for submitting an application for the Math and Science Academy? The Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering and all Morris County Vocational School District Academies. Deadline for applying is Wednesday, December 9th. Wednesday, December 9th is the last date to submit your application. We do very much suggest sooner rather than later. That way you have all of your information in and don't have to worry about that over the holidays. Okay, here's a great question. Is it okay for a student to drop off and back to their primary high school if they didn't perform well or lagging behind? And I think that what means is also maybe a student attends the academy and is not happy. Well, we really want to make sure that you do feel comfortable at the academy before you apply. There are 48 seats and there will be approximately 200 plus applicants. So it's very, very important that you do your research before you apply. You will be given time to make the decision. We will give you an acceptance notice. Again, that would come late January, early February, and we would give you a due date to make sure to accept that. So we ask that you do not accept that seat if it's not something you're interested in. But we do understand that every once in a while things happen. For instance, maybe you move out of county, you really do decide it's not for you, a change of life type of factor. So if you do need to head back to your home district or a new district with a move, that is okay. It can be done with no loss of credit, but we will certainly miss you. Ms. Giordano, is there an orchestra, specifically violins?
We do have a strings program at Morris Hills, so yes.
Okay. All right, what does it mean to complete a course? I think that's referencing the Algebra 1 component for the requirement for the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering. Can you confirm that information, Ms. Giordano?
Sure. So to complete Algebra 1, you would have to be currently enrolled in an Algebra 1 course in your middle school. So you would be in a math class called Algebra 1, and it would be on your transcript. It would not be something that you're self-studying or learning at Mathnasium or some other private tutoring program. It is something that is on your transcript, and you would need to pass it in order to successfully complete it.
All right, here's a good question. Is AP Biology in 11th grade mandatory? Is it possible to replace it with technology or math?
It is mandatory that you take the AP Biology course as a junior.
Okay. Can a student opt for other academies before or after the exam in January? You cannot change after the exam in January. The deadline for changing academies is also Friday, December 11th, when all the criteria is due. So we do ask again that you do take your time to make sure you feel comfortable with the academy you're applying to. But if you did apply to academy now and you wanted to make that change before December 11th, simply send an email to the applicant's email address with your name and PIN number, and we're happy to make that change for you. All right, Ms. Giordano, if you already took and passed AP Physics and AP Chemistry, AP Calculus at your present school, do you still need to take them again?
I think I would want to have a private conversation with that family and ask why they're applying to our program if you've completed most of our coursework. There may be a better program for you. I don't think we've ever had a student who has completed those 3 AP courses in middle school. So that would be a private conversation. They're more than welcome to reach out to me. All my contact information is on the brochures.
We will also, in the follow-up early next week to this presentation, add all of our contact information as well. So if anyone would like to get it that way, we'll also provide it for you. Okay. Can we make edits to the video? So the video submission. After you submit, you cannot make edits. So please make sure that your video feels good to you before you hit submit. You do have some time to work on that. All right. In the past, students had access to a sample Accuplacer test to familiarize themselves. Given the changes this year, would students be provided a sample math test so they can familiarize themselves with it? Just to confirm or explain for anyone out there that doesn't know, we used to administer a test called Accuplacer, which is created by the College Board. The College Board is no longer offering the Accuplacer for secondary education. So we have pivoted and we have created a homegrown test. We have provided in the handbook a wonderful overview of what the test will look like. It is not a sample test, but if you pull up the handbook and click on that link, you will see that it will really give you a great idea of the type of questions that you're going to be experiencing that day. Anything else that I should be adding into that, Ms. Giordano?
I don't think so. I think you covered it.
Okay, thank you. All right. This is a great question. What is the homework load? How long do most students take?
I guess I'll take that question.
Yes, please.
So the homework does vary by subject. Some of our technology classes do not have a significant amount of homework, if any, outside of the classroom, because honestly, they're hands-on classes, so they're doing the work in the classroom. But the other classes, your math classes, social studies, English, there will be a decent amount of work outside of the class. We'll call that homework. But it does vary by student. You know, what takes me 20 minutes can take another student, say, 40 minutes. So it's more individualized. But if I were to say one thing that students coming into this program or high school in general really need to work on and master is time management. You really need to manage your time wisely, especially with an A-day, B-day schedule, because you're not attending class every day except for that Z block. So you need to really plan out based on your schedule when you're going to complete your homework or your projects or study for your tests. But I'm not going to lie that the homework is significant. It's an academic program, it's highly rigorous, and you will be doing a lot of homework, but it's going to vary from student to student.
Thank you. This goes back to the video. For the video submission, do you want the answers geared towards the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering, or just the whole school district, Morris County Vocational School District? So the two questions that we are posing to you are, why is Morris County Vocational School District the right school for you? And why are you the right student for Morris County Vocational School District? To answer that question, that is a personal choice, how you would like to answer those. But we do want you to choose an academy that's right for you. We really do want you to feel passionate about the academy that you're applying to. So if that is something that you would like to add into that statement, you are able to, but it will be a personal choice. All right, students who are also applying to the magnet program that Ms. Giordano referenced at Morris Hills have already submitted recommendations from middle school teachers. Can those be shared between our program and the magnet program? So again, there is a difference between the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering that is run by Morris County Vocational School District in partnership with Morris Hills and housed on the Morris Hills campus. Morris Hills also has a separate program, the Math Science Magnet program. It does not have anything to do with our academy. The teacher recommendations could not be shared. We are using our own unique format. They are not personal letter recommendations, so unfortunately they cannot be shared. Do the recommendations have to be from a math or science teacher? No, they do not. Just 2 middle school teachers of your choosing. Okay. Let's see. When submitting teacher emails for recommendations, do we only provide 2 emails, or can we provide more? I know that lots of my teachers want to send recommendations. Well, one, that is fantastic. That means you're probably a great student. So no, we are looking for only 2 teacher recommendations. The application will only allow you to put in 2 email addresses. You will also include their name and what grade and subject they taught you in middle school. Okay. Is there any sibling preference for an existing MSE student? No, we do not have preference for a sibling that's already in the program. Is the test standardized, or will there be an open-ended question to the test? I'm going to throw that one to you, Ms. Giordano.
Sure. So the placement test will be open-ended. It's not multiple choice, but there's the possibility that more than one answer is correct.
Thank you. Okay. Do I have to complete algebra? I am not in algebra. I am in 8th grade, but I can complete outside of school from a tutor or private solution.
I'll take that.
Thank you.
If you're in Math 8 right now, unfortunately, you do not qualify for the program. You need to be currently enrolled in an Algebra 1 course in your middle school.
For the video, can the student read the responses from a paper, or it's like an interview format? So again, please reference the admissions handbook we have an exact layout for your video submission. but you will be recording yourself answering those questions. If you are more comfortable reading something, you can do that, but you are going to be recording yourself answering 2 questions and submitting that. Can you elaborate on the random selection process? Is the selection not based on score from the rubric and math test? So how it works is all of the criteria will go in for all applicants. So all the criteria that we talked about, including your 6th and 7th grade scores from math, science, English, and social studies, your attendance and conduct from 6th grade in the first and 2nd marking period of 7th grade, your teacher recommendations, your video submission, and your admissions test. All of that information will be tabulated. From there, a score will be determined, a qualifying score per academy. So everyone that applies to Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering will all be ranked with that information, will be tabulated. A qualifying score will be determined. Those below that score, unfortunately, will receive a non-acceptance notice. Those above that score will move to the final phase, which includes the random selection process. So that will be independently audited by an auditor. Well, we will randomly select the students that will be in those seats. In the webinar, the presentation at the beginning of your slideshow, Ms. Giordano, there was a picture of girls with the field hockey sticks. Does your school have field hockey?
Yes, we do. And they were twins, by the way. I don't know if anyone caught that.
Ms. Giordano, is the school in-person, virtual, or hybrid right now?
Well, we started the school year out hybrid. Currently, both Morris Hills and Morris Knolls are in a 2-week shutdown. Morris Hills has been in there longer. They're returning to school, I believe, next week. So they had 2 weeks where they had to switch to fully virtual. And then Morris Knolls just started today, fully virtual for 2 weeks. So we do have a hybrid, though, in the normal situation.
Thank you. Will there be an ELA test such as an essay? No, there were not. This year, we were only going to be doing the math test for the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering. So math only, 1 hour, pen and paper. Is there a dance team at Morris Hills?
There is not a dance team. We do have cheer, not dance. There is a Visual and Performing Arts Academy, though, in Morris County School of Technology, if that's something you're interested in, and it's housed at Morris Knolls High School.
Thank you. Will there be interviews conducted for the applicants? This year, there will not be in-person interviews. In past year, we've done small group interviews. Due to the current climate, we have moved to the video submission, so you can do that from the comfort of your own home. Do students get their high school diploma from the Academy or from Morris Hills High School?
So the students, when they graduate, they will attend both graduation ceremonies, and at Morris Hills, they'll receive a diploma cover that has nothing in it. Their diploma comes from the Morris County School of Technology. That is technically the school that they are attending. They just happen to be housed at Morris Hills High School.
Thank you. I was told eligible students will move to the next phase in the admissions process. What is the cutoff score? The cutoff score will not be determined, and it is a qualifying score. The qualifying score will be determined once all the applications come in. We don't know every year what the applicant pool will look like. It's always different. So once all that information for everyone is in, it will be tabulated and then determined. So we can't tell you now what that would be. Can I choose a new language if I already took one in middle school?
Absolutely. So if you want to try a different world language, and say you took Spanish in 7th or 8th grade and you want to try French, you're more than welcome to. You would just start in French 1.
Here's another question on language. Is world language a must-have in freshman year if the student has completed 3 years of French already?
It's not a requirement. It depends though, what your goal is for a world language. You do need to take world language in high school in order to graduate from the state of New Jersey. So it is a graduation requirement. And depending on the college that you're applying to, many of your high powered colleges are looking at possibly 3 years of a world language in high school. But there are opportunities to accelerate in that coursework if you really wanted to. So you don't have to take it as a freshman, but you will probably be taking some type of world language at some point in time in high school. Minimally, I would say 2 years. But a lot of our students take 4 years of world language, if not a fifth.
Thank you. Here's a good question. Can magnet students take academy classes?
Magnet students cannot take academy specific courses. So anything that's titled academy in front of it in our courses cannot be taken by anyone outside of the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering.
What do the engineering and production courses actually do?
So the product development courses, so they're building upon what they're learning in CAD and fundamentals of engineering. So it's really a design and build process. Students may work on CNC machines. They actually have a wood shop and a welding, like a metal shop, that they'll be working in when they're juniors. So it's a lot of hands-on skills, plasma cutters, drill press, different things. So you're actually designing and building. And you might be doing some computer-aided design to actually design those and then fabricate those products.
That's the class I would want to take. Can we apply to both the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering and the Math Science Magnet program?
Absolutely.
How are the Math, Science, and Engineering and Math Science Magnet programs similar? I can back up to that other slide if that's easier.
We don't need to. So they're similar in that they're both focused on math and science courses and upper level math and science courses. So if you walked into, say, an AP Calculus BC class, you'll see magnet students and academy students and traditional Morris Hill students all in the same class. So most of those students are taking higher level sciences and higher level math classes. So it's very similar in that sense. Their SAT scores are going to be very strong, particularly in math. I would say that in the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering, our ELA or English scores on the SATs are slightly higher. But as far as your upper level classes, they're going to be in the same courses in some cases.
Our school offers geometry in 8th grade as APEX. How do you proceed for 9th grade?
So if the students are currently enrolled in APEX geometry and they're putting the geometry course on that student's transcript because they don't have a teacher to teach it in 8th grade, we would just need to see that they've successfully completed the course through APEX, what their grade is, and then they would sit for our placement exam. And as long as they met the minimum requirement on the placement exam, they could test out of the geometry course freshman year and take another elective instead.
Okay. All right, we're going to wrap
Ms.
it up.
Grelick,
Yes.
can I go back to the difference between the magnet and the academy? I just want to emphasize that the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering has engineering courses in it. That's what the design and build courses are all about. And that's a very important component of the program for Morris County Vocational School District. Students who apply to this program must be interested in engineering. Otherwise, they will not be happy with that coursework.
Thank you, Ms. Castelli. We're going to end with this final question. Do you get any college credits for taking this program?
Maybe. It depends on what courses you take. There are opportunities for college credit, depending on courses that you take. But if you're just taking the straight out academy coursework, you will not get college credit. You would need to go above and beyond in other courses, such as I mentioned Calc 3 earlier. Calc 3 has the transcripted credit through NJIT, but there are other opportunities as well through other colleges other than NJIT, but that wouldn't be specific to the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering.
All right, thank you, Ms. Giordano. So I just want to say thank you so much to everyone. Unfortunately, we are out of time here. We do have many more questions in the queue. I'm so happy that you did utilize that, and I apologize, but we would be here until tomorrow. So like I said, we will wrap up, but next week we will follow up and we can go ahead and we'll make an FAQ for you based upon this information and also include our contact information, a link to the presentation, a link to the wonderful slideshow so you can see the physical spaces of the Academy for Math, Science, and Engineering. But thank you all so much for being with us this evening. We hope that this has been informative and helpful to make your decision. We wish you all the best, a happy and healthy school year, and hope to see you soon.